Coronavirus, a global pandemic that has caused so much uncertainty. People all around the world lost their livelihoods, airports were closed, and nations were put under lockdown. Here in Kenya, on March 15, 2020, the Kenyan government ordered the closure of all schools.
We have suspended learning in all our education institutions with immediate effect.
Many students, parents, and teachers were left confused, wondering what next. Some opted to proceed with their studies online, while others had to make do with what they had. This is a story of the brightest minds who decided to push forward despite the pandemic and make headlines in Kenya. These are the overcomers. In the Kenyan education system, before students complete their primary and secondary school education, they are required to do national exams, which are Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, which is the KCPE, and Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, which is KCSE. There are two types of high schools, namely private schools and public schools. Public schools have different categories, which are national schools, extra-county schools, county schools, and sub-county schools. We traveled to Kangundo, which is a small town in Machakos County, where we met former KCPE candidate Faith Mumo, who topped the whole country.
First candidate, who is now the best candidate in the country for this year, is female Mumo Faitli.
It's exciting, full of elation, that it's overwhelming to to be the top candidate in the country.
Faith scored 433 marks out of 500.
I'd like to join Kenya High and later on pursue to be a neurosurgeon in the future.
With schools being closed, she had to come up with a strategy to continue her studies.
Able to continue learning because my mom and dad made me a timetable whereby I could study and also revise for the KCPE.
Faith's parents also faced difficulties of their own. With the pandemic, they had to move from Nairobi to their rural home in pursuit of a more affordable life.
We experienced a lot of challenges because since last year, 2020 March, when this pandemic came, I didn't get any job somewhere. I used to be a freelance accountant, and from that time I did not do any job anywhere. So paying school fees for her and her brothers, it was not that easy. But we managed to work out there and there, do some little work here and there to get some money to pay the school fees. In fact, at some point we were used to go and talk to the head teacher to give us some time so that we can just be paying the school fees in bits by bits. Yes.
Experienced a lot of challenges. That's whereby I felt lonely, revising alone, and with the pandemic, you could not be free to move and to look for other things to do, like when you can go to your friend's house and revise, but because of the pandemic it was so hard.
Faith, being the brilliant and smart girl that she is, has a dream of creating something that the world has never seen before.
I have an idea of what I want to invent, that is something like a human brain, whereby if you lose your brain or you have a mental disorder, I can still fix it by giving you another brain.
Back in Nairobi County, we set off to go and meet Yvette Nanzala, who was number 2 in the whole country. She scored 432 marks out of 500.
The second candidate is another female, Wesonga Yvette Nanzala.
I expected to be the best. So there was that tinge of disappointment when I realized I'd been beaten by 1 mark, though I'm still happy.
I was so excited I was so excited. I was in the house watching the news, and when I heard her name, I screamed. Even the neighbors came to see what was going on. It was such exciting news.
Yvette's dream career is not only one that will fulfill her, but one that will change mankind.
I'd like to pursue my career in oncology. That is because there is, as you can see, putting aside the COVID pandemic, cancer is really taking a lot of lives from us, lives that we can save, and I would like to try and give back to the community by trying to eradicate the disease from the world. Yeah.
With physical classes having been disrupted, measures had to be taken to ensure the candidates kept learning. For Yvette Nanzala, there were no online classes, but her teachers kept her on her toes.
We had just a few topics to read. Then when our teachers realized that the holiday would be longer than expected, they started sending us online exams, which we would do with marking schemes being sent to us. So though there was that little disruption, it was not such a big difference because our teachers kept us occupied. Therefore, we did not lose much of what we had learned before.
For Yvette, learning during a pandemic came with a lot of challenges and confusion.
Of course, there are those challenges. Yes, you could get bored or distracted because you see, like, at first actually it was like the year was lost. That was what most of us thought, that we'll just go back in January and begin afresh. So there was that bit of disappointment, maybe the network going off and on. So there was a bit of challenges, but thank God, because my parents were able to retain their jobs, so there was not such a big challenge.
According to Education CS George Magoha, 1,179,192 pupils sat for the KCPE exams, out of which Faith and Yvette Nanzala topped the country. These two young ladies are the true definition of conquerors.